Welcome to Totally Naked Film Reviews, where we review today's top movies, stripping them down to the bare essentials and exposing all their faults. Today we're going to mix it up and we're going to look at a TV movie, Sharknado 4, The Fourth Awakens. So I haven't done reviews for the other Sharknado films, but I enjoyed all of them because they had just an absolute amount of absurdity and just gratuitous cameos. And this Sharknado was no exception. Just absolute absurdity and gratuitous cameos. I like the beginning. It starts out, the title, of course, is parodying Star Wars, The Force Awakens. So they start out with a parody of the Star Wars logo with Sharknado 4, Fourth Awakens, and then they do the Star Wars crawl. And they had a lot of Star Wars references. You know, it's like at one point, one of the machines was called Red 5. Finn says to this one guy, "Don't get cocky," after he's bragging about killing the shark. A lot of Star Wars references, but one thing that got me is one point, David Hasselhoff's character, who's alive in this one, we'll get to that, he's talking to his granddaughter. He's talking about this technology and how it can boldly go where no one goes before. She goes, "Oh, a Star Wars references." At that point, I was thinking the same thing, but he goes, "No, Star Trek." And I was like, boop! Yes, they reference Star Trek, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Christine, Baywatch, a whole lot of films and TV shows. Some of them were pretty cool references, some of them they were really hammering it in. Anyway, the plots of this Sharknado 4 is that it's been 5 years since the last one, and the technology is improved. It's kind of like Independence Day Resurgence, where the world is all futuristic now. And they have this guy played by Tony Davis, who's able to control the Sharknadoes before they start with the technology. He's kind of a cocky guy. Finn, he's trying to get over the death of his wife, and he's in Las Vegas with his cousin for some reason. I think he was meeting his son, who's coming in with his fiance, or wife actually, because they get married on the plane by Dr. Drew. Again, gratuitous cameos. And then, wouldn't you know it, another Sharknado just suddenly appears, and the technology is useless. And it starts cutting its way through the United States, and it's up to Finn and his son, David Hasselhoff's character, who's alive because Tony Davis's character went to the moon and got him. Like I said, absolute absurdity. I mean, how did Hasselhoff's character survive on the moon without any food or water and limited air? The only thing I can think is Tony Davis has got up there the instant they knew that Hasselhoff was stranded there. Who knows? Like I said, it's called Sharknado 4. You know, suspension of belief just has to start at the beginning. You know, you just roll with it. It's just absolute absurdity. And of course, it's just tearing through the United States, knocking over famous landmarks and killing off with some of them gratuitous cameos. So I thought that the movie was pretty fun in that regard. I like some of the gratuitous cameos, because you never know if that character is going to live or die. You got, you know, Andre the Black Nerd from YouTube. I like his channel. I see him as a train conductor of all things. It's like, is Andre going to live? Is Andre going to live? Okay, I'll spoil it for you. There's a spoiler alert. No, he doesn't. He gets his head taken off by a shark. Then one scene they have Dog, the bounty hunter, who I've never really liked, you know, in the parody of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, yeah, get him, get him, get him. But they didn't. My favorite cameo had to be Paul Schaefer. At some point, I think they're in Kansas, and he's playing an out-of-work magician who's on the street corner trying to earn money. So essentially, I guess he's playing himself, and then he gets ran over by the world's biggest ball of twine. Of course, the big cameo that everyone's talking about is Stacey Dash. She plays the mean mayor of Chicago, who doesn't like that Finn Collins. You know, she basically looks at him like people should be looking at Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote. You know, it's like Jessica Fletcher shows up, someone's going to get murdered. Then Collins shows up, there's going to be a Sharknado. And it ends up not being too good for Stacey Dash. A house lands right on top of her, you know, Wizard of Oz style. You know, she's like the Wicked Witch of the East with the feet dangling out and curling up. Well, they didn't curl up, but you get the picture. Big house landing there. Of course, you get on Twitter, everyone was just posting memes and laughing about this. And I gotta hand it to Stacey Dash for appearing in Sharknado 4 to play a character who's going to get a house, you know, dropped on herself. You know, she's takes a lot of heat for things that she says, and I don't agree with the things that she says. But it seems to me that the reason she gets so much shit is because she's black and she's not going with the black majority, so people really have a problem with her. And I have a problem with the problem that they have with her is basically I think they're a bunch of racists because their problem with Stacey Dash is she's not falling in line with the rest of the African American population. She's not voting Democrat. She's not supporting Black Rights Matters. She's not into Black History Month or BET. And everybody's like, you Uncle Tom. And my attitude is, once again, what a bunch of racists. Because they're basically saying to her, hey, here's a set patterns that you have to follow because you're half African American. If you don't follow it, we're going to give you shit. But Stacey Dash just won't follow them. Like I said, I don't agree with her politics. I actually support Black Lives Matter and, you know, Black History Month. I don't watch BET though. Ugh. But like I said, she didn't care. She played a bitchy character who gets a house landed on her, and kudos to Stacey Dash for that. So like I said, I enjoyed most of the film. I thought it was just absolute absurdity, just crazy shit happening, gratuitous cameos, wondering if that character is going to live or die. But now let's get into the faults. Well, the problems that I had with Sharknado 4 are kind of the same I had with Independence Resurgence, and the fact that everything is happening so fast, you can't keep up with what's going on. I mean, I didn't realize till halfway through it that there were 3 different Sharknados. I thought it was just one giant Sharknado that they were dealing with, and it seemed to be going in weird directions. You know, I thought that the producers didn't understand geography any more than they did science. And acting. Well, it's as good as it's going to be for a movie called Sharknado 4, Fourth Awakens, but there was some really terrible acting from the kid who played Finn's youngest kid, the little 5-year-old. God, that kid was annoying. Can we vote on whether or not he lives in the next one? I vote no. And Tara Reid is back. You know, people voted on that to save her. I wasn't one of them. Her acting is what it was in the first one. It's not there. You know, which is, maybe not, because she's playing a robot who probably lacks human emotion, so I guess she nailed the part. And that's really the only problems I had with Sharknado. So, on to rating. Well, usually when I rate a movie, I base it on how much money I spent to see that movie and how much I thought it was actually worth it. But I saw this on TV, so that's kind of for free. But we'll just throw out a number and say like $8. Like if I spent $8 to see this in the theater, how much would be worth it? I think a good $6.50 because it was fun, the gratuitous cameos, the absolute absurdity. But you've got that kid, and he is just so annoying. Just like, I know he's a kid actor, but for Christ's sakes, you know, casting. I blame casting for this. I didn't think they tried hard enough. They could have found a kid actor who could act. And like I said, some of it's hard to follow. So $6.50 out of $8. And I look forward to the next Sharknado, Sharknado 5, Electric Boogaloo Nado.